Oh, hello. Welcome to the studio. Miles here with the band EMEFE. Glad you're joining us today. Come on in, won't you? Today, we have an episode of EMEFE.ptx, a video podcast series where we open up our Pro Tools sessions and talk about our process. This episode is about our song M and D. We hope you enjoy. Is that my dog?
Tony, come on. 1, 2, 3.
Perfect. It's time for M&D. M and D.
M&D are here.
Brought to you by Tate's.
Thank you for the money, Tates.
They are not paying us. I don't know why I'm eating this right now. We just started, but
Well, we're pitching.
Yeah.
It's a pitch.
That's right. It's a pitch. Get at us, Tate's.
So, Miles, while we were off the air, I had a question for you because I have no idea the answer to it. How did we start writing M&D? And by the way, M&D is an acronym for Miles and Doug.
Boom.
But I don't know how we got to the acronym.
We got to the acronym because you came over here and it was just like, let's just make a thing. More often than not, those songs end up just being given a random title because there's no name, there's no overarching concept. And then, as with many EMEFE songs, that title on the very first day of the very first bounce ended up being the title of the song. It felt right.
So we started jamming on an idea. We had no stated goal. I have no recollection of the first moment that this song started to exist.
Yeah, it was just from nothing.
That's really cool.
You on bass and me on drums.
Not many EMEFE songs have been written that way.
No.
So that's special and fun.
I would say close to none. Usually EMEFE songs are very like, it's like something is brought in and disseminated. Ideas are disseminated and then build from there.
Right.
But yeah, very rarely has it been just clean slate, start from zero.
And what's funny about that with this song is that because we approached it that way, I remember approaching it that way. I just don't remember the specific, this thing happened, then this thing happened. But what's funny about the way that I thought of this tune was that when we initially broke ground on it, I thought of it as an interlude. I didn't think of it as a full song. And then you continued to Miles on it over the course of several months. And now it's one of my favorite tunes on the record. It's so mellow and very pleasing to listen to. And it is sort of a breather on the record, but I think it has a strong identity.
Yeah. That is what I'd say as the record was coming together. Even though the song, we had made this a while back, this song, the way that the record was coming together, it was like, this needs to be brought in right here. It didn't necessarily have a place before. And then as the album was unfolding and it was like, I think there was even a track list where this song wasn't on the album. And by the time it gets to like track 6 and turns after that, after the song turns, ends, it's just like so maniacal and epic that I was like, we can't just like launch into like a peppy Afrobeat song right now. Like we need that breather.
There's a lot of intense music on Forward. High intensity, complex. It was an ambitious record to make.
Yeah.
But it was still from our heart and in our wheelhouse. So I think having M&D in the record is a really important part of the journey of it.
Yeah, and this record also is so much of it when I listen to it is like it's an outpouring of energy. So like all of that, all the big moments and just the general high energy level, it feels like it's like pent up, or it's like, or it was pent up and now it's being unleashed.
Right.
But but also this record is about like connection and reconnection for us. And this song, I feel like, was in particular a reconnection for you and me.
I agree.
Um,
I think
yeah,
our our relationship, if I may speak to this now, our relationship, we've known each other for, I don't know, 20 years.
yeah,
Um, our relationship within EMEFE was frequently, often over the years when the band was super active. When it came to composing and recording, it was you having a very specific idea of what the bass line should be within the framework of EMEFE songs, which is really important. And I learned a lot as a bass player playing those parts. But it's been fun since we've sort of refreshed our relationship composing together and working together. It's been really fun to take different angles on how different levels of it's a different balance of input between the two of us now, which I really enjoy. So
yeah,
I think that came through in this tune really in a cool way.
yeah. It also like it has to do with us growing in our own rights as well. Like, but for me personally, like only in the last 5 to 8 years did I figure out production to the degree that if we start something, I can like turn it into the thing without it being, because like back when we were super duper active, it was like we would go into a studio and an engineer would record us and everything. And then like when we stopped being a band, and for those few years I learned a lot about production on my own. And then and then now circling back, it's like now then I'm able to combine those things where it's like I can produce and have it not just be me. You know, I can produce others. I know how to create, or how to like have it sound like a band, you know, like not sound totally just in the can or like super overproduced or whatever. So that is a big part of it for me too, is like we can just create a thing, and then I can sort of crinkle it up and put it through the production machine and have it become something bigger, and exist on an album where there's a whole lot of everything, you know.
Definitely.
I wanted
Should we
to
look at some of the actual
let's
stuff?
dive in. You can see in this
PDX.
session that, so here's the actual song, but you can see that there's all this stuff before. So I haven't listened to this or anything, but we were just like jamming basically. I don't know what I'm gonna press play. I don't know what this is.
Random spot.
Wait, was that my dog?
Tony, come on. Whoa.
Oh.
Lots of notes from the bass.
Listen, this is the same. That's M and D, but just a different tempo.
It's a different tempo and it's more notes.
Then what is this? So now
This is
we're
a little super baked right here, yeah.
But this is the
this is the B section. Wow,
okay,
we really did write this
We did
just
this.
jamming.
Yeah.
Special.
And then that eventually, then we laid this down.
Ooh. Very proud of this bass line. This is you just soloing the rhythm set, like bass.
This is just you and me, nothing else. This is what you and I did to start. This is the clean slate.
Just feels so great.
So we had worked out the A section, we worked out the B section, and this was the take where we were like, all right, let's go to the chorus. 3, 4.
so crafted. There's so many levels to this bass line. The starting point is we picked kind of a minor tonality, like a chill Dorian-y minor tonality to work from, which is always fun because as a bass player, it's like we're in pentatonic land, which is always, fun, feel-goody notes. And then I started, since it's mellow, the tempo and the vibe is mellow. That immediately said to me, I'm remembering what I was thinking and feeling.
Tell us.
I would be so happy to. I often think about the sound of the bass first. Like, there are multiple ways to pluck a string and to make a sound come out of the bass. And for this tune to get that kind of like it sounds boom, it sounds the attack, you can hear the attack, but it's not overbearing. What I do is I put the heel of my hand on my right hand against the strings and pluck mostly with my thumb. So that creates that kind of like almost upright tone. And that works, to me, that works really well because for a groove like this that's calm and chill, because you hear the definition of the notes, but you don't hear a ton of high end in the actual vibration of the string. So there's like this nice boom, bounce, mellowness to it. So that's what I'm thinking sound-wise here.
Play that.
Yeah. Yeah, almost definitely using the heel of my right hand.
Oh, yeah.
And my left hand is also so trained in controlling the length of these notes that they all have a little breath. Each one can breathe. And that's very EMEFE, the Doug Berns, the bass player of EMEFE stuff. Because the reason I say that is because for many years when we're writing tunes and in the way that we write for this band and that you write for this band is the bass line is a certain phrase that repeats.
Yeah.
So every part of that repetition phrase is calculated, length is calculated, articulation is calculated. And one of my favorite things to do when we play together is because the drums, as the drummer, you are the drummer of this band. You control.
Thank you.
Yes, great job on being the drummer of the band that you started as a drummer. That's good. But you are many other things beyond that for this band. But what I'm saying is, you are doing many variations. You are executing stuff that changes, dynamics that are changing. So the way that the bass line can stay the same construction-wise and move with you is the way I vary the sound of it.
Oh,
and little things like the length of a certain note or what part of my finger or hand or thumb I'm using to pluck. So all that's really cool and in play here.
Which is super, like, it's hard to explain, like, how difficult it is. Like what you're talking about, you're explaining it really well, but like you really don't know unless you understand like what it is to play a song and you're playing the same line over and over.
Yeah.
And I only know this because I don't do that in the band. I play the drums. I can, tinkle on all the little things whenever I want. But like the sandbox that we have for EMEFE, which is also the sandbox of like Fela songs or like Antibalas or any Afrobeat stuff, is like the guitars and the bass are like this central anchor where they're repeating the same thing over and over. And the times that I have done that, like in recording the guitars for the album or just like throughout the years playing bass here and there, it's really hard to not throw in extra stuff, to not like play fills or like it just takes like an incredible restraint that I think is like, and maturity, and that I don't know, I feel like that like it's hard to really get it unless you know, but like you've found this way of doing it that I think is so cool, where like you're you're looking at all the other aspects of a bass line outside of just like what like the notes and the rhythm and like what the actual line is. Like you're looking at all these other parameters. It's like all these other things are opened up because this is fixed. And often those parameters aren't really thought of because people are so concerned with, okay, here's the bass line, but how can I like, change the bass line in different places, So I think that's really cool.
Thanks. I think being a bass player is all about starting with what's the fundamental message and role of the bass line before you even get into thinking about, let me show what I can do. It's like, well, let me think about what this bass part means. And that's been, it was something that I had to train myself to do when we first started working on this band together, however many years ago. Excuse me. But it's also been something that has brought me great prosperity in my career, and respect, and opportunity, because a bass player must honor the music that they play. So I think I get to do that in this band. It's really fun, and it was like a really good training ground of like really a narrow area within which to work. And that's not a limiting thing. It's not a limiting thing.
Right.
You can't think of it as a limit.
Yeah.
When I have a student that I teach a rock band at a high school, and the bass player is probably the one of my students who practices the most outside of band. Like, he's the most into his instrument on his own time. And we'll play songs and he'll say, "Oh, the bass part is just this, or it's just eighth notes, or it's just quarter notes, it's just the root notes." Just saying. And I try to impress upon him, because I think he's very talented. That's beautiful, and that's hard work. It's not easy work to play parts like that. So I think that the ethos of my existence in this band is captured, and my existence as a bass player in general is captured in this tune. Also, because now it was like, I'm gonna write this bass line to live within that world. And let's talk about the main phrase for a second.
Sure.
My favorite thing, boom, 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 boom. That high note, ninth. Let's get jazzy for a second.
Let's get in there.
Ninths on a mellow, the greatest mellow minor one chord bass line that ever was is Butterfly by Herbie Hancock. Boom, 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 whatever. Point is this: the ninth on a mellow, like with the nice pads on the keyboards and the chill cross stick hi-hat thing you're doing. The ninth is this little bit of color in the bass part, this little flourish that's like the bass is leaving the root and going to the note a whole step above it. It creates this really nice, like, exciting, suspended feeling, and then we boom, 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 boom. Nice on the one, get back to the root. So that's what I'm thinking about when I'm hitting that note.
It's
that's
you could have easily gone boom, 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 boom,
right.
Boom, boom, boom.
Nothing
boom,
wrong with
boom.
that.
But it when you introduce the ninth, it like it's instantly a color.
Exactly.
Dun, 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 dun. Then it's like, okay, it's the night sky,
and a little slide up to the ninth to exaggerate and announce its presence as different from the root note. It's exciting. I don't know, it's one of my favorite moves. Not because it's a move, but because it just sounds great.
Yeah.
So that's my favorite characteristic of the opening bass line of this tune.
And then let's just talk about the chorus.
Yes.
Because you played, as we heard, you play this progression that when you just hear the bass playing it, and I remember my experience of you playing it, I was like, I hear this, but I don't necessarily know what the harmony around these notes are. yet. I think I know, but it's the kind of progression. It's very much like a chord progression, which is also like interesting for an MFA song because you don't get them much. Usually
Right.
we hang out on one chord for a while, but this progression especially is it. I couldn't have written this progression because this is like kind of outside of my theory well that I draw from, unless I am like finding something very slowly, which is often very boring for anybody else. In this case, it was like I think the way it happened was you then told me, here's what the chords are, and then I played it on the synth. And I just want to play the chorus
Dope. So
synth
cool.
because when this was like, I think the next thing that we tracked, here it is. I think it's this one.
Those the turnaround chords are so cool. Wow.
Yeah. So that is like a real. It's pretty jazzy.
It's very jazzy, and I think in my mind, when I was playing all those notes, I was thinking of like a Jamerson thing
Mm-hmm.
because Jamerson,
James Tamerson.
James Jamerson of Motown fame, kind of reminds me of like "Ain't No Mountain High Enough" or something. The little chromatic motion,
Yeah.
and uh, yeah, it just creates so much implication about what the chords are supposed to feel like. And what I like about having really close friends that are really good musicians is I love to think about root notes and I love to think about bass notes of chords, and I really don't I'm not comfortable with the colors and the notes that go on top of those notes.
Mm.
It's something I've worked on and tried to get better at understanding over the years. But because I'm so bass, I learned bass first before I learned guitar and learned keyboard and other instruments.
Yeah.
So when I come up with stuff like that with friends like you, who I know have and jazz also have such phenomenal understanding of harmony, I'm just kind of like, okay, I think these are the chords. Let me just hand this bass line off to my harmony friends,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll put things on it that make these bass notes sound really cool. And I think that's what happened here.
Yeah, but well, I didn't play those chords.
I
But
mean,
I mean,
might be
I played them, but
I
I'm
might be able to say the names of
okay,
what I
okay,
think they
yes,
are. Yes,
yes,
yes. I might be able to say the names of what I think they are, but when it comes to voicing them and actually laying them out on a keyboard,
yeah,
that's really that's an area in my musicianship that I've always wanted to be better at, and I've always admired you and Jazz are both really on a high level with that. So when I have a chance that we're working together, I will say it should be this chord, it should be this chord because my excuse me, because my theory brain is strong enough to know theoretically what chord it should be,
yeah,
but my keyboard brain is very childlike.
hmm
So I needed some adults to help me with my keyboard brain.
yeah. And I identify with that too. Like as you can see here, this was not one take. It's like
Yeah.
pretty frequently with tracking synths and stuff. I'm like one hand on the keyboard on the actual keyboard and one hand on the like mouse because I'm like shit,
Right.
shit.
Right.
So I understand that
Yeah.
too.
But we can't. But the chord progression we ended with is really cool.
Yeah.
And another thing that we really, I don't know if you want to get into the melody of that part,
Yeah. Sure.
but it's a repetitive phrase. That's one of my favorite things in writing music.
Same.
Is when you can create a repetitive melody over a moving bass and a moving harmony.
The best.
So fun and cool.
I'll literally never get tired of doing that.
It works every time.
It's like no matter what happens in the world or at all in life, I'm like, at least I can always write a melody where the chords are changing but the melody's staying the same. I'll always have that.
So many great tunes and just so many great feelings come from that. It's a huge part of bass and harmony is what's happening with the melody in relationship.
Let me play this melody because I guess that was the next thing we did that day. Is this? Let me see. Oh no. Okay, wait.
Ooh. You have some kind of chronological order to this session?
No, this session is literally just as it was when we did it, so I can sort of guess that like
because you just new track. Yeah.
So I guess here these are the guitar parts here, so I guess we did those, but then here is the piano,
which is the melody.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I'll play it with the bass and the prophet.
Dope.
And then we eventually, not to skip ahead too much, but tracked Jazz playing that.
Such a great tone.
And then also put flute in there.
This is the stuff in this session. Sorry,
oh, and then there's also the violins.
Oof, that sounds amazing. All right, a few things here.
By the way, that was Hannah Walton, Jazz's wife, on the violin and viola.
Sounds so beautiful.
And I think Domenica Fossati on the flute. Yeah.
Couple things here. One of the great techniques that I've learned from you and from our keyboard player, Jake Pinto, production-wise, is layering different timbres to make a new timbre. So all the timbres layered, you don't necessarily think of that melody, because there's also vocals on that.
Yeah, the next chorus
has the vocals. Let's play that for a second. Should we do that?
Yeah, let's play that.
Okay.
Because I love this part too. So first it was I just tracked the vocals, which was pretty underwhelming.
I like the character of them.
Yeah. Okay, so
that's all character.
Me. But then we got Domenica in there.
Different articulation.
Yep.
And very cool to have that little smooth rub.
And also Lolise on vocals. So
it's like children together. Playing together. That's what it sounds like. Getting back to what I was started to discuss, as Jazz just plays like the most sultry, beautiful thing. Let's get back to me speaking.
Yeah, man.
Layering. What you've done is layered something into a part that's bigger than the sum of everything that's happening. And another special thing that you do when you make these records is you think. Like, to me, if I'm calling somebody a vocalist like Lolise or Domenica, I'm thinking they're going to come sing lyrics and do a thing that's all about their singing, which is spectacular. But to think so creatively of their beautiful timbres and articulation to create a bigger melody,
Yeah.
that's a deeper level of thinking about melody, especially in quote unquote instrumental music, right? There's no lyrics here,
Hmm.
but we're creating a vibe and a feeling that's so special. And take any of that stack of things happening out, it's less special.
Yeah.
In the sum, and it's less emotional, it's less moving. So that's what I think is just this core. We'll call it a chorus, right?
Yeah.
It hits, and it's got also the fact that it's human voices singing. Those two amazing singers, three amazing singers. Uh, it just it
Thank you.
creates an innocence, a child's playness of this song that I think that's what this song is all about. A little time to relax and take some pressure off of yourself and be a kid again for a few minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. And like often it's with this kind of stuff with the vocalists, like Lolise played chekre on the track, Dominica played flute.
And you brought them in that the day that you recorded them to do a bunch of different things, or
A bunch of yeah,
yeah.
yeah, they each came in and like put this on that track, this on this
Mm.
track. Um, and I had sort of known that any there were a couple of tracks that I had done some vocal ideas on, and I was like, that's obviously not going to be what it sounds like on the record. Like it's not going to be me like, so that was sort of on the list, on the to-do list. Like we got to get them singing this because that will make this idea come to fruition.
Cool.
There was also this other little vocal thing that in the second verse I added where I'm going like, um, and I had Dominica play that on flute, uh, uh, which sounded like this.
It's so unique. It's such a unique tone. And those are just octaves.
Yeah,
Did you manipulate one and then?
yeah. I put a little altar boy plug-in, so it's pitched down, and then there's also this like non-linear reverse thing, which makes just it essentially kind of do a little reverse it into the
Mm.
note. It's like it kind of sounds like it's in reverse, but it's not. Anyway, so that was like another thing that was a vocal idea, but then it was just like, okay, this would be way cooler if she played it on flute, and then it becomes okay, her Dominica tracking it like on flute, trying to imitate how it was sung, and then it's like, oh, that's a cool way to play the flute. So it's just all these twists and turns. Um, there was also
This is all the stuff, by the way, that turned this from an interlude that might not make the record to a really cool song. All these touches, all these nuances.
yeah,
That's when the identity solidifies.
I'm just scanning the. Okay, so another thing that took this song into another zone was Jake's Wurlitzer that he tracked it in LA and sent me a bunch of different takes, and I edited them together. Um, as you can see here, this is sort of like what an edit looks like, where this is all stuff he played. He basically did 4 takes or so, and I just chose the moments. Um, put some of it in reverse here and there. I did some panning, etc., etc. Like here's one little. These so in context, especially these sweeps that he did.
Very Bob Jamesy.
Yeah, which just, to me, that like put it over the top. I was like, oh, this perfect for this
The lushness.
moment. Yeah.
The lushness that only Jake can provide.
Yeah. He really knows how to conjure a mood.
Yeah.
Or yeah. Yeah.
It's really cool.
Um,
That's you should put that on Splice.
Let me upload it right now.
Just upload it without his permission.
Yeah. Another, while we're on the topic of production and editing, here's a little tidbit. Is the rain. I recorded some rain.
This
because
is just next freaking level. I had no idea.
We got the rain tracks. This is stuff that you don't get unless you listen to a video podcast.
A 3-minute song, we talk about it for a long time.
Yeah,
because there's a lot of thought that goes into it.
A
A lot of
thought.
care.
The song previous to this on the record, and I ended. There's like a little transition of rain.
You recorded this with an iPhone?
Yeah,
So evocative.
and then the song starts, and we have the rain.
Just simmering. Almost like a vinyl sound.
Yes, but then so that's going. And then suddenly it's out. Like these little
Freaking cool.
these little moves where like that this is where I love production the most is these little like sound, well, not the most, but like when you get to this part of the process, it's like it's just fun. It's just pure fun where you're like, okay, the we've done the heavy lifting. Now how can we really like finish this song? And those little moves are so nice. And like here the rain comes back at the end.
Smooth, automated up.
You can barely even
Just atmosphere. Air. So cool. Somebody, I don't remember who it was that once told me this, but they said for every transition that you make in a song, 2 things need to change at least.
Oh.
And I think when you went to that rain, when you took the rain out, the idea is kind of like, oh, we're snapping the groove into focus.
Yeah.
And then a keyboard came in on the downbeat that wasn't there before.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't think about numbers of things that you're taking in and out, but it's really all about transitions in music, creating those moments. I really think that's special and cool. And also taking
scene changes.
And taking field recordings is something you did it on turns too, with the turn signal.
Yeah.
That's so evocative and human and makes our largely, again, quote unquote, instrumental music something that has real vibes. And I think that's the dope. You always want to create. You're not making a audio recording. You're making a world with each song, and that's the stuff that does that.
I feel like we're like, when actors talk about like we're storytellers.
Oh hell yeah!
Like,
what else do you listen to music
kind of
for?
us right now, but it's true. When we say it, it's true. Musicians.
I'm damn proud of this.
Musicians are world builders.
Yeah. We just leave the visual. Well, in the case of EMEFE, we have some visuals that go with this song. And all of our songs that are really cool. But your mind can fill in so much, but we're also giving you a lot.
Yeah. Speaking of scene changes and other little production moves, for the drums, one thing I like to do is between sections, um, muting or unmuting certain mics of the drum set to I love your
It's
reactions.
just stuff that I would never think of
No,
doing ever.
it's very nice for me to say these things and like just share these little things and you're just like because like it's validating. It makes me feel good because
Because I have
usually
my own little moves for my production stuff, but
yeah,
it's something I would never think of doing.
yeah. So yeah, so like in the verse of this song, we as you can see, I recorded two kick drum mics, two snare mics, hi-hat, high tom, low tom, and then two overheads. Um, Now in the actual mix, all that's happening is the kick mics, one of the snare mics, the hi-hat mic, and then everything else is muted in the verses, which sounds like this.
Is there something on the hi-hat?
There is something on the hi-hat. You know
A
it.
flisange?
There's a little
A reversey.
flanger.
Yeah, yeah.
And then in the chorus, you can see down here the overheads are unmuted, and so that you can kind of hear the difference.
That's dope.
So there's air suddenly in the drum take.
To me, it's like, it's almost like we go from a sample to a live recording.
Right. And
That's
then we're
really
going to go
cool.
back. Oh, that was a little.
And it's all gone.
It's all gone.
Because the song's over.
Sorry, this is what I meant for you to hear. Then we're back. So it is
In our
also
little box.
yeah. So it's like a widening too, which I love
Like
doing.
imaging widening. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And just a note on those overheads. There's this Wolf compressor plugin that gives it that. It gives the air in the drums like it gives it a groove almost because it's
like a
like a
yeah.
groove
Yeah.
kind of
Mm.
old reference, inside joke you wouldn't understand. Yeah. So with a beat like this. Hear how like when it's just the ride playing, it like pops out a little more.
Right.
That's what compression does, especially with drums and especially compressing a ride cymbal beat is like so unique and it's a sound that I love so much that I actually like imitate that when I'm playing sometimes. Like if I'm playing a beat, it's like instead of going I'll go because like so much of like hip hop drums or just like funk drums, it has a compression going that gives it that like flow. It's like a more lyrical to go instead of even though the drummer is just playing the hi-hat like even. So anyway, that is what's happening to these drums where the compression is bringing out the ride cymbal. It's like this little, it just adds to the
Little lift.
little more funk to it, if I
That's-
could use that word.
Yeah.
Is funk a dirty word? Can we just say funk?
I think funk is an awesome word.
It's
I think-
awesome. Why does it get such a bad rap?
It encapsulates a world of music that's somewhere in between many other worlds of music. So that's why it's cool to say funk and to say things have funk and to say this rock song has funk or to say this rap song has funk. You know, it's just a little zhuzh in between things.
Yeah, I would say maybe also funk has a certain connotation because of the certain types of people that have played this music. Uh, corny. Whatever. That is for a different podcast. But yeah, we've seen a lot of funk bands over the years, and
Funk.
we've been those funk bands,
Sure, sure.
and we've
Especially when
lived.
we wore sailor hats once. It only happened one time.
If you know, you know.
Yeah. If you were there, you were there.
Um, oh, I got to talk about one more thing here.
Of course.
Is this clapping pattern?
Oh, yeah. That's so dope. I love this. It's very
Yeah.
little elements.
So when we were when, towards the end of the process of this song, like this was a groove song, and like at a certain point, the question came up of like, should there be a solo? Like, should a horn? Like, obviously, a lot of our songs have a horn solo. So it was like, no, like this definitely doesn't need that. And I had the idea of like, what if the sort of like melody over the verse is just like a rhythmic pattern, which so often, like, since the chorus has a melody, you want the verse to have a melody too. In this case, it was like, how about just like a clapping pattern, and that's like the event of the
Mm.
verse. And
That's a great word for what the clapping pattern is.
yeah,
Because I definitely would, when I listened to this song, I don't think of a melody at all. I don't think of a
yeah,
lead thing happening at all in those moments until we get to the quote unquote chorus. So I
yep,
think it's cool that you thought of the claps that way because they're so vibey and the little slapback thing happening creates so much motion, but it's not overbearing at all.
yeah. Um, I recorded it of course, I had to I had to do it to him. I recorded the claps in three different parts that were then layered together.
Beautiful. It's just technique.
So the
Pure
first, I
technique.
went into my Stuart Bogey bag.
Oh yeah, the boggle.
So there's the first. Here's the first clap.
Oh wow. And I didn't realize you meant a single part of the rhythm at a time.
Yes. Oh yeah. And then here's adding in the second clap.
Billy Martin vibes too.
Yeah. Many bags were dug into. And then here's the third clap.
And the aggregate is yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
really cool.
So,
You notice I didn't even attempt to recreate the second half because I already
yeah.
forgot what it was.
Yeah. And when we play this live, we are going to have a clapping chorus. Come on, just
Great.
like 8 people on the side of the stage just
Right.
doing this part of this set.
So if you're a professional clapper and you're looking for a gig, please reach out to us if you're free on May 31st.
30th.
I said May 30th.
Calling all clappers. I'm just trying to see if there's anything we forgot
We
here.
didn't talk about the guitars, but
Ah,
but it's almost like the guitar parts are awesome, but they are almost a thing that you can be like, and then there's the guitars that sound like this. Unless you're gonna tell me you did some crazy, yeah. I mean, the effects on the rhythm part are really awesome and probably worth talking about.
this is you playing, and
I love it. It's such like a 13-year-old playing guitar, like in his second year of playing guitar riff, and that's what I love about it.
yeah, like doing the same shape on all the
Yeah,
strings, like going
exactly.
up.
Because it's also not like there's a note that's it's not wrong, but there's a note in it. It's maybe it's not the in the box of the right box or
Mm,
something. It just kind of came out. I remember feeling like, do I need to fix it? Eh.
yeah, but also there is a method to this madness. Remember back like a couple hours ago when you were talking about the the nine on the bass line?
Yeah.
Boom, 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 boom. Well, these guitar parts happen to like each engage with the nine in their own way, so that the mixture of the guitar parts and the bass part, it's like this kind of chase
Mm.
where like your part that you're playing,
Think of the way I disrespected these guitar parts and now all these truths you're revealing about them.
it's crazy the
It's
disrespect.
awful.
Which is almost like it's like a portmanteau or like a translate different version of the bass line itself, you know.
Ah, I never thought of it like that.
Um, so there's the nine in there, and then the part that I'm playing on the left hand side is so the nine is just you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it all works. It's complementary. You know what I mean? It's all in conversation.
I really love we think of it as tenor and rhythm, right? Two guitar parts. Tenor tends to be single lines with
Hmm.
single notes, and rhythm tends to be the combination that leans more towards double stops or chords. I really love that interplay in the MFA's music in general and Fela's music in general, Antibalas music in general, all
Yeah.
that those designated roles and the way that you can play with the imaging of them in the sound, like where you pan them, the way that you can put one sound on on one and different sound on one is dry, one is wet, or maybe they both sound that they have a same effect profile. It's really fun.
Yeah.
And yeah, the way you mangled the the tenor part and the way that the rhythm part is just
Yeah.
it's a really special interplay. And
Yeah.
the tenor, it's like the tenor gives you the labor, the hard work of the track, and the rhythm gives you the air, the breath,
Right.
the space.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of space, I feel like a nice way to end is to play. I want you to hear these violins that Hana did on the end, and you can see that there's a bit of a throw here on this Galaxy Tape Echo plugin that is very nice.
Let's hear it. Did you automate that?
Yeah.
So how much is that of that is her playing?
Well, you can see here that this is what she played,
Uh,
and then I think I
you
added
dropped some
these
more,
here
yeah.
because so that you can like re-trigger
Uh
the.
huh. Uh huh.
But it's just basically this. Uh, all of it's hard to. The feedback is really where it's at, where it's you're throwing this all this information into the plugin. You're raising the feedback so that it's feeding back, and then it just as it's starting to diminish, then you have another little piece of information that then re-triggers it, and then you know, and then it oh here it comes.
No.
Yeah,
It's so cool. And I love what she did with what do you call this, tremolo? This thing?
Oh, yeah.
It's very It's cinematic.
Yeah.
You know.
And she did more of that. She did that especially on this song, but also on the last song on the album
Right,
afterward,
right.
which we'll talk about eventually.
Oh, I love the strings on that on Afterward.
Yeah.
They're so cool.
Well, I just wanted to see, is there one more of the? Oh yeah, here's another throw of Jazz's tenors. I'm just gonna play that just because it's so nice
You
to
just
listen
threw
to this.
the couple. You threw them.
Yeah, Jazz and Hannah, we threw them.
Let's throw them. It's funny sounding.
Yeah. So that's M&D.
M&D. A magic tune.
Yeah. I think it cracked something open for us, and I think there's a lot more of this in the future.
Oh yeah.
Okay. That's it.
That's it.
Bye.
Bye.